Call Morris County Fiscal Court to order September 6, 2018. Under guest, Rivercrest, Chad McCann. We've got the first drawdown. You should have the document in front of you, the first drawdown on the sewer expansion. And that drawdown is going to be with KIA. Morning, sir.
Quick update on the sewer expansion project. The notice to proceed was issued on the 20th of August, and construction has begun on the project. The contractor, Merco, is out there right now, primarily working at the wastewater treatment plant end of the project, putting in the force main pipe, working back towards the high school right now. They'll be starting on the big lift station next week. I understand those materials are coming in on Tuesday, and they'll start work there. As far as the request for payment that you guys are looking at there, primarily that consists of stored materials that the contractor has purchased, mostly piping materials for the project. They had some suppliers that really needed them to get the material while it was available, so they didn't, and the contractor didn't want to wait and not have availability of that material later on in the project, so they went ahead and purchased all that piping material for the gravity lines and the force main.
Has anybody got any questions for Brian or Chad? I'm sorry.
I've seen the pipe, so it's out there. Motion to approve payment.
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are you going to stick around for executive session?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Y'all have any other questions? Thank you.
Next under guest, Christy Tucker, Morris County Public Library. Morning.
Good morning. How are y'all? Good. Sorry that I have my cell phone with me, but I had left one of my statistic pages that I wanted to bring, so they emailed it over to me. So I have handed out a copy of just what I call a year in review. It's our 17-18 annual report, and then also included on that page is the tax rates that the library board set. And this year they chose the compensating tax rates, which is 9.4 for real property and 10.21 for personal property. And I want to just brag on my staff. I do have a board member and my branch managers here, and I would like to at least give them some notice. I didn't do this last year, and I was really upset with myself because they do a lot of hard work and they deserve a lot of credit. So I have Deidre Tosh, the branch manager at Hardin. Raise your hand. Lanisa Jones, the branch manager at Benton, and Tammy Blackwell, the branch manager at Calvert. And I also have our board president here today, Barbara Sloan. So I want to thank them for coming as well.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions for Christy?
You might toot your horn since you're on TV about the upcoming event at the three
Yes,
libraries.
Yes. The community table project is next week on Wednesday, and there are tables going to be set up at each branch. I might look over at Tammy and ask her to remind me the times.
9:30 at Calvert City, 11:30 at Benton, and 2 o'clock at Hardin.
And this is an opportunity for people to come in and talk about what they feel like the community needs to be doing in preparation for the annual anniversary of the terrible shooting we had in January of this year. So we want to hear your opinions.
Good.
No questions?
I
Please
don't
come
believe
see
there's any
us.
questions?
We want you to, and if you don't have a library card, please come get a library card.
Yeah, I can attest to that. My daughter loves the reading program, so.
Well, we're glad to see her when she comes in. I hope she enjoyed the Sip to Go program, the Science and Play, that was picked up on Tuesday. We were sad to see it go, but we were able to have it for the whole summer, and I think our community really enjoyed it.
Good.
So,
Well, thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you again, Christy and Lanisa, for making the facility available to us a few weeks ago, too.
Anytime. That's
Very,
what
very
we want you
nice.
to use us. That's
Very
what we're there
nice.
for. Thanks.
Under guest, Anthony Wallace, A&I Fair Board. Morning.
Please excuse me, I've been ill, so I don't have much voice. I'm here basically to ask, we've got two events coming up, September the 15th and October the 27th at the fairgrounds here in Marshall County. We're doing enduro events. As some of you know, we don't have a county fair anymore, and we're all working very hard at getting back to that. One of our biggest issues has been equipment. Without the city of Benton and Mayor Dotson, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we've gotten. And I'm sure you know they don't have the assets that the county has. One thing we're looking and here to request is maybe the dozer. If you guys could build our track for us, that property sits, stagnant for X amount of months, and it's kind of hard to work up with a track hoe with a backhoe or a skid steer. So we were kind of wanting to seek the county's assistance, no funds or anything of that nature, but use of a dozer, even if, you could bring it up during one day during the week and push basically we're needing a berm pushed up in the middle. Our outer walls are there. They may need a little shaping, but once that's done, we could leave it until the October race. And once that's done, it just needs to be flattened, and if maybe could be put to a grade where the water would run off.
I know last time when we had spoke, I know we've spoken in the past. I think there's been several changes with the board. I know one of the concerns that the road department has had, and I think it was the board before you, the county sent their equipment out there and it was returned dirty. I think the road department crew had to clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, we'd mentioned it before, and they thought they had it clean, but all in the tracks was just caked in there, the mud and everything. And I don't feel like it's fair to have our men out there shoveling the mud off all day, when the fair board had used it. But do y'all have someone to operate a dozer, or do we need to?
I've asked Shane Watkins. I know he's kind of involved in some of the derby and those things, and he's willing to do it on his own time, and he is a county operator, my understanding.
Right. Before, when we'd spoke with I know it wasn't you, but it was someone else on the fair board, we'd ask if y'all had checked into equipment rental. Did y'all ever do that?
We have. I can't give you an exact figure, but these events cost us, Tatter Day cost us over $1,000 in equipment rental. And as a nonprofit volunteer fair board.
Who did you rent from?
Excuse me?
Who'd you rent from?
I know Justin Lovett was one of them. I couldn't tell you who the other one was because I do more of the racing side and the promoting side of it. But, with our bank account under $10,000 and trying to get back to having an actual county fair, we just can't. I mean, even a $300 or $400 hit is a huge hit for something like that,
I think that was last year, correct? Or did you say Tater Day?
Tatter Day, yes, sir, this year.
Because I know that's one of the things we had discussed, that there was probably some rental companies out there that would rent their equipment.
I actually checked with 2 different companies out of Paducah, and they said that they would do it free of charge since it was the fair.
Really?
And we could pick the equipment up and deliver it to you. We've got our dozer busy right now. We used to have 2, but now we've only got 1 dozer, and we're using it right now.
Well, the mayor does give us, Ms. Dotson does give us a backhoe and a skid steer and an older tractor that we can use there. And
Right.
a few guys from the city are willing to help, but that'd be great. And you have pull with those guys that we don't have. We have no ties to that anymore, to any outside.
Okay, yeah, they said they hadn't been, I talked to McKeel Equipment and Wayne Supply, and both of them said they hadn't been contacted in the past, but they are willing to work with you and let you use it, no charge.
That'd be great, then I'll contact them.
Yeah, because I think the important thing that we were discussing was that the road department's priority of works, trying to fit your schedule in.
Sure.
It's kind of hard if they have a priority of work come up, your event could be standing there without equipment. And that's where with these companies that may want that advertisement, I'm assuming that was one of the things that they would love to have, is the advertisement on an event like that.
No, I couldn't tell you who, there's about 10 members on the fair board. I couldn't tell you who has contacted which
Right.
different companies. I know there's been several calls made, but no one, it may have been those companies and whatever, but like I said, you being the county. But, the dozer, that's the one thing we need the most is the dozer.
Well, I think the problem you got now is you got 2 companies that want to support.
Yeah, I guess you can just pick, may use
Oh,
one this
yeah.
time and then one in September.
Definitely.
Would that solve your problem?
It will, if we can get a dozer. I mean, if not, we're gonna have to pay it out, and it's not something, the dozer's not something we need there all the
I
time.
mean, you've got a operator, if you said Shane
He
would
was
operate
willing to
that,
do it for us.
that would be satisfactory to you?
Yeah.
And obviously, there's two companies that want to do that. That's
Definitely,
just,
I'll definitely
just
be
long-
contacting.
certainly we need to keep a county fair. This is Kentucky after all, and county fairs are very popular throughout the years in Kentucky, but if that solves your problem, that's great.
It does. That'd be great.
Good
Thank y'all.
deal.
She can give you that information. Whoever it is on your board, make sure that they keep them in contact for
We will, for sure.
future events. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Anthony.
Under correspondence from MediaCom, just to give the update, Dear Judge Executive, purpose of this letter is to inform you that on or about September 1st, 2018, MediaCom will be implementing the following rate adjustments. There's several on here. We're going to post this on our website so that people can go to the website and see the old rates and then the new rates. Correspondence, actually, the lease agreement that we have with the Hardin Community Building, in that lease agreement, the monies that are collected from the Hardin, city of Hardin, they are turned over to the county annually, and then at the end of the year, those monies in the agreement are to go back to Hardin, the city of Hardin, and they will give those monies to the Hardin senior citizens. And I think the dollar amount for this year, the total amount that will be given back to the senior citizens is $2,420. And that's per the lease agreement. So that will take place. Jeff, do we need, even though it's in the lease, it's in the lease agreement? We don't need any action on that?
No.
Okay. Old business, approved minutes, August 17th.
Motion to approve the minutes, August 17th, Judge.
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid on a half-ton truck for animal control.
An advertisement in the Marshall County Tribune Courier was put Tuesday, August 7th, 2018. The Marshall County Fiscal Court will be accepting sealed bids for lease and/or purchase options for a half-ton single-cab 4x4 truck. Bids shall be submitted in a sealed envelope properly noted on the exterior and delivered to the Judge Executive's office at 1101 Main Street, Benton, Kentucky 42025, no later than 4:00 p.m. on Friday, August 17th, 2018. The Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. So there were two bids given. First one is from Leon Riley, received August 15th at 1:20 p.m. This is for a 2019 Ford F-150. Your purchase option, $25,000. There's also a payment option for 48 months at an APR of 5.95% with a payment per month $596.37. The next one was from Parkway Chrysler. It's received August 13th at 3:12 p.m. Here, this bid features a Ram 1500 regular cab 4x4 that will be sold at $23,508. That is the bid price, and that's all that's in there.
Are any of these on a lease or purchase?
Looks like all of them are for purchase options. The one from Ford listed, it's a Ford Credit Municipal finance program. So that's what the $596.37 per month is for 48 months. So the total amount financed on the Ford truck is $25,545. That would include your interest.
Didn't the one we just ordered a couple of months ago, when there was really supposed to be two at the same time, somebody got the wires crossed, wasn't that a purchase?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we did. Did we finance that? Because weren't we going to pull those money,
We're going to pull those monies out
out
of
of the donation account?
donation account.
But was it, did we purchase them? It was a purchase. I know it wasn't a lease.
Yeah, that was my understanding, that
It was-
both of them were going to
were
be purchased. There were
purchased,
supposed to be
yes.
two, and.
But I don't remember if we financed
Okay.
them or if they were, I think it was a finance amount. That's right.
To purchase
Both.
Right. So,
out of the donation fund.
right.
Move that we purchase the vehicle for the animal control from the lowest bidder, Parkway Chrysler, at $23,408.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid Camp Creek Bridge.
An advertisement in the Marshall County Tribune was placed Tuesday, August 14th, 2018. Marshall County Fiscal Court accepting lump sum bids for the replacement of the existing concrete bridge over Camp Creek in Calvert City, Kentucky. Site location is 1.2 miles east of Highway 1523 on Calvert City Road. It also lists a scope of work that was advertised. Bids shall be submitted to the judge's office by 3 o'clock, August 31st, 2018. Bids will be opened on the September 4th, 2018 Fiscal Court meeting, which we've rescheduled to today. Questions regarding the bid should be emailed to Wendy Greer. Marshall County Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. Looks like there was one received on August 31st at 2:41 PM. It's from Jim Smith Contracting. Total bid proposal is $254,947. This includes all labor, material, and equipment necessary to construct a 24-foot wide by 60-foot long PC box beam bridge as detailed in the attached bridge proposal.
What were the dimensions of the bridge again?
24-foot wide by 60-foot long.
Thanks.
I'll give this to Wendy to look over.
While she's looking at that, we'll move on to the bid 60 by 60 metal building.
An advertisement in Marshall County Tribune was placed Tuesday, August 28, 2018. Marshall County Fiscal Court will be accepting bids on a 60-foot by 60-foot pre-engineered metal building built on the site of the Marshall County Road Department. Specifications can be obtained at the Road Department Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. All bids must be submitted to the judge's office by 3 p.m. August 31st, 2018, and marked Road Department Building on the envelope. All bids will be opened on September 4th, 2018 at the Fiscal Court meeting. For more information, contact Wendy Greer. Looks like we've got 3 total. First one was received August 31st at 2:26 p.m. New pre-engineered metal building for Marshall County Road Department. This is from Travis Construction. Total sum, $238,750. The bid breakdown is $77,000 for labor, $95,750 for material, equipment, $13,000, and subcontractor, $53,000, for a total of $238,750. $238,750. This one was received on August 31st at 1:27 p.m. from Glenn Harris Construction. It lists the scope. And total price is $261,000. Does anybody want to hear the details of the?
Who's that from again?
This is from Glenn Harris.
Harris.
Site work is $12,500. Concrete work, $54,750. Building package, $58,512. Labor, $31,500. Heaters, $11,140. Electric, $31,720. Plumbing, $8,000. Miscellaneous, $27,500. Overhead and profit, $25,378. $261,000. And next one is from Pinnacle, received August 31st at 1:36 PM. We propose to provide and erect a 60-foot by 60-foot pre-engineered metal building as per the provided specification sheet for the sum amount of $340,260. The cost breakdown, general requirements, $54,876. Site work, $716. Concrete, $85,011. Metals, $5,286. Wood and plastics, $1,324. Thermal and moisture protection, $4,750. Doors and windows, $10,835. Finishes, $2,750. Specialties, $627. Special construction, $124,979. Mechanical, $23,254. And electrical, $25,850. That's all of them.
I think to bring to the attention what we budgeted, well, actually, all three of these are under what we, or over what we budgeted, so. I think we're gonna have
What did we budget?
discussion on that.
200.
200,000?
Yeah, I thought that it'd probably come in a little high because all the contractors that I talked to said the metal and everything had went up since, we done the addition last year and stuff, so. I do have money that's gonna be amended in this next court meeting, over 200,000,
From,
from where we'd paid for different projects last year, but got reimbursed this year.
okay. Okay, we'll discuss that in a minute. While you're looking at that,
See if that low bid meets your spec.
Yeah, also on the bridge, I think we can go ahead with Smith's bid on the, if y'all want to.
what did we anticipate cost on that? Do you remember?
I think it was
264?
I was thinking it's 275 is what we thought it might be, so it's under that. 254.9. And also, I applied for the 80,000 on the 80/20 money for that too.
For this fiscal year?
At the October
The,
meeting, or the meeting, our second meeting in September, you're gonna have $200,000.
I'm hoping to have a budget amendment prepared for the first reading at the next court meeting.
It's there.
It would
We know
allocate.
it's there.
Yes, it would show where the money had come from and where it was going to go to.
Do you have any idea about, have you talked to any of these contractors about when that building will be erected?
No, I mean, each one of them's different, so it just depends on,
Right, I just didn't know if the availability, I know if there's a pressing need, especially when it's 6 inches of snow on there and they're trying to get the salt off of it.
right,
And they're not too energetic when it's,
Yeah.
freezing outside and don't have a place inside to do so. I just didn't know if you had talked to any of them and see if it can be completed before winter or bad winter.
Wasn't any timeline in the contract?
No, I'm not sure. I wasn't in the office the day that Travis Construction came in and picked up the specs, so I didn't get to talk to Quentin. So I'm not sure. I can call and find out.
The Camp Creek Bridge. Have you looked at those?
Yeah, it's fine. Their bid's fine.
We need a motion on the Camp Creek
Move that we
Bridge.
accept road superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on while she's looking at that. 60 by 60 metal building. On their old business, nonprofit workshops, finally got the proposal for the workshops series proposal. You should have a copy of it. Looks like several training classes that they have prepared for the nonprofits. Different ones. You got Dr. Weber and Long giving periods of instruction, and Tony Watkins giving periods of instruction. Kind of outlines basic information that's going to be discussed, the fundraising and grant writing. Workshop number 2 be fund development and endowments. Workshop number 3 will be logic models, performance and evaluation. Workshop number 4, governance and board orientation. And it gives a brief background on the 3 individuals given the periods of instruction. It's got a cost associated with each training session. It breaks it down as far as what the cost would be. This is their proposal for the cost for providing the training.
Which the cost totals what?
It's got the breakdown.
Yeah, I see the breakdowns. Looks like $3,680 per session. Is that accurate?
That's what it says. 4 days, 8 hours at 4 times 115 is 3,680.
So, 12, 13, 14, $15,000.
15 to 17,000 for everyone. I'll just reiterate that some of our nonprofit groups desperately need this training.
Have we budgeted that?
Those aren't budgeted dollars.
No.
We just got the proposal.
I think that's a lot of money that could be utilized toward one of the nonprofits. I just don't, I don't see it's that beneficial, $14,720.
I will say, when we had the meeting with the nonprofits, there are several nonprofit groups that are anticipating this training because they understand the benefits of it. I think the training is contingent on the success of some of these nonprofit groups. Some of these nonprofit groups are so dependent on government dollars that if the government budgets are tight, they're going to fail. I think it was Dr. Long that said 80% of the funding is individuals. We do have some other nonprofits that are actually successful in carrying out some of the training that they've received from the individuals, Dr. Long, Dr. Weber, and Tony Watkins, showing that it is successful.
If we do approve this and do spend the roughly $15,000, is this, we are absorbing all the costs, the nonprofits and the attendees attend for free?
Correct. These workshops are to benefit the nonprofits. In theory, we are funding this so that we can better them.
Right.
And
But
fundraising.
My question was, do the people that attend, the nonprofits that attend, is there any charge for that?
There's no charge.
Okay, it's free. Okay. There was some confusion, some people I talked to that got some information about the cost of attending the meeting.
This is the
I don't know
first
if that were these
proposal.
meetings, but
There hasn't been anything distributed. This is the first time we're proposing
okay, it must have
the
been something
workshop
else,
training.
though, some courses that are available. So, okay, now that's, yeah, I certainly think if we partake of this program, certainly we don't need to add any more burden to the nonprofits. They're pinching pennies as it is, so I like that. We're making that available to them.
You have somewhere in the budget where you're going to get these funds?
Now, where is it going to come from?
This is, Emily and I had discussed that. Obviously, if you look at the training, it's going to be over the next several months. It won't all be in one lump sum, but we do have some monies.
I think that budget amendment next court meeting could help us see what we have available.
I think there's 2,000 that's already available in the one budgeted item that we have for nonprofits.
Yes, sir, said we should have some funds in a nonprofit
Yeah, there's a little bit left in that line item.
line item.
We can break it down by next court meeting if you want.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
I'll be able to advise you much better after.
Just Table it till next court meeting.
For next, okay.
Have a problem with it, okay?
Did you look at those specs?
Yes, I recommend that we do Travis Construction. It meets all the specs. It's low bid.
Move that we accept Superintendent Greer's recommendation. Go with
Second.
Travis.
Second.
And the additional dollars we're going to pull from the monies that are coming in. Was it 38,750? There's
I think I've got like 275 coming
coming in. All
Already
those.
gotten.
Okay.
The Camp Creek Bridge come in under budget though, didn't it? So we can use that. That's 21,000 we could move toward the expense of the middle building.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor to accept Travis's bid of 238,750. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The old business, I think it was October of last year, Jonathan Creek Water had a Brewers water main extension from their tower and Brewers. They asked the court to pay for the engineering. I think it was $25,000. The court covered the cost for the engineering. I recently spoke with Jeff O'Brien, who's the chairman of the board, and they are having problems getting the cost for the material. So Wendy and I sat down to see if we can cover the cost. You should have a copy in your material. $79,298.77, and that's to do the material cost and the labor. That line extension for the Jack Treese and Duncan Creek Road will pick up several customers. The Brewers Tower, I think annually is dumping quite a bit of water. 'Cause they
That's
don't have
exactly
enough
right. That's how they're
customers.
operating it now, because the water stays in long enough that the chlorine residual gets down, and so they have to replenish it, so that's, they're having to dump water and put fresh water in. Now, this will add, I think, 28 customers, which should help, and they're gonna be customers that are gonna use water, according to what I'm being told.
Right. And I think, for the district to help them out in this project, I know they've got several issues that they got to work out, but this, to my understanding, there's some customers that are already waiting, have been waiting for some time to tap on, so I thought this would be an opportunity for us to help them get this line extension out.
I agree.
I have no problem sharing resources.
Me neither.
I'd move that we go forward with, helping with this, project at 79,298.77.
Just to,
Just the material.
well, just to say, I don't know, as far as the cost of this project, I don't know if they're in a position to pay it back.
But I mean, I would assume that they will try to pay it back.
Right.
I mean, that's the way I would pose it to them.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, under old business, the senior citizens vans. I think we all know the events that have taken place with the vans. They're registered, titled under the county. When was that? We were down in, what was it, last Monday? They totaled their other van, which their vehicle is totaled with us, but that puts them down to, I think, to 2 vans. Now, I know Jeff and I have talked. I want to make sure that the court understands that the proper legal process, and Jeff, if you can explain that.
Well, in order to complete this transaction, they would require the court to vote to transfer those 2 titles, three titles to the buyer, and then agree to accept title on the one that is coming back, if that is what you choose to do. Like I said last time, that would complete the process. However, it's concerning somewhat that the transaction has, for the most part, been completed, and it kind of, your discretion appears to be limited at this point. But from a legal standpoint, in order to complete that transaction, that would what would have to be to do, what you would need to do. If not, then it would have to, the titles would not pass, and we would go back to square one.
I know they've already started the process and so forth, but if they hadn't and they ask us, I know that's water under the bridge now, but if they had asked us before this transaction, isn't that the way it's been done in the past?
Well, I think that, I don't remember the specific times. I think that if it was handled properly, the court would have approved each and every transaction, each and every
Right, that's what
transfer
I'm
of
saying,
title.
but-
I just don't know about the
That is-
timing.
That's the way it's been done in the past, isn't it? If we've always held, the county has always held the titles for vehicles with them.
Historically,
understanding.
I believe that is true.
So we always sign those off. I know not after the transaction has been made. I understand that, and Reverend Lewis was very apologetic for that, just because they didn't know, but that's the procedure.
The practice of titling it that's more of if that's a policy question and not a legal, I mean,
Right.
that it's the way, the legal question is answered by who signs the title and who approves it.
Well, and
And
I think I've got the answer to the policy, and I agree with your legal opinion on that, but the policy, the responsive. That's how we've always done it in the past. When we came in, if you look at our audits, our asset management has always been dinged in our audits. So even though what was done in the past, it was identified in the audits that we needed to correct that. When we came in, we changed the administrative code to where we actually do asset management. We have Asset Tiger. Those vehicles are an asset listed in the county. They're no longer in a drawer, just a title. So they're listed as an actual asset to the county. And the last audits that we have had, we have been communicating and working with the auditors to get our county assets accounted for. So now that they're accounted for, the ways we do things in the past aren't consistent with what the auditors are wanting us to do. So that's the way things were done in the past are no longer going to be done in the future because of the asset management of county assets. And we should be accountable of our assets. Anything that is titled to the county is a county asset. It doesn't matter who pays for it. If we put, and these individuals or organizations need to understand, when they put it titled under the county, it is a county asset. And with our asset management system that we have in place, the way things were done in the past conflict with that. So I just want to point that out.
I agree, but I believe they had come to us in the past when they would purchase a vehicle or whatever and add it. I think they would come to the court and it would go through us. But anyway, I would move that we, and Jeff, would tell me what you need, I mean, that we transfer those titles of those 3 vans they traded. And however we need to do it to
All you got to, from the court standpoint is to vote. If you want to approve it, vote to transfer those titles.
I'd
And
move we
accept the title.
transfer those titles and accept the title of the new van.
Second.
I'll read this under discussion because I had a citizen send an email and express concern, so I'm just going to read this for what it's worth. Dear Judge, after watching the video of the August 17th Fiscal Court meeting, I had watched the court. It is easy to say that it is how it was done in the past, but just because it was done in the past doesn't mean we keep doing it the wrong way. I would hope that you and all the commissioners would make the right decision. In my opinion, would be to get the titles transferred to the senior citizens, and then they would get their insurance on their own. I would rather see nonprofits get a county grant to help them provide for insurance and profit for their vehicles. Even if it costs more in the short term, it will save the county and the nonprofits in the long term, and can title the vehicles in the county's name and have the county purchase the vehicles, or title the vehicles that are greater good for the county. And that's from Sean Knisley.
Sean who?
Knisley, Knisley. So he apparently had some concerns with the way the process was done. We all know that senior citizens obviously have vehicles that they need. I don't have a problem with them having vehicles, but I think with the relationship that we have, when we set this up, these are the types of problems we get into. And in the legal opinion, it sets a precedence for the court, I think in a negative way, because we're making decisions already after the fact. They already know
I don't disagree
that.
with that, but I think it's been made clear to them that that's not the way we're gonna handle it in the future. That this is our equipment and that they'll have to go through the court in order to do anything with it.
There's a motion and a second, and in that motion, is that to put the vehicle that they currently have titled to the county?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
If we want to change that at some point, that'll be the court's decision, but.
Just, I think y'all are aware, the other vehicle that they totaled, when we spoke to the insurance company, they do have liability coverage. if the vehicles, one thing that the problem that we can run into is if the vehicles that are titled, we don't manage them, we don't drive them, we don't see them, if they continue to have, and this is for any vehicles that's titled this way, if they continue to have collisions, it will make our costs go up. And some people think that that's an unburden, or it's an undue burden on the taxpayer, but I just throw that out there. Do we have, while we're discussing?
That's their Meals on Wheels van, and they were run over, my understanding.
It was totaled, and I think that insurance totaled it at what price or what cost?
The settlement offer for that vehicle is $3,982.
So, I mean, they're back to two vehicles. Under old business, the ordinance 2018-08, waste management. When we last discussed this, I just want to bring this up to clarify a few things. When we last discussed this, I asked, there was some discussion in court as far as information that was given to certain individuals and not the full body of the court. I think, Jeff, you talked to Brian Miles.
Yes, I did.
And I think we even discussed it in an executive session in more detail. One of the things that I asked is to clarify some of the information that was discussed in executive session, and I don't think we've got that to date.
Explanation, not documentation.
Well, we got an explanation with no documentation, and I kind of, by looking at the information on the webpage that was brought to my attention, I got on the EPA's webpage, and I immediately found that I had some concerns with the information that was on that webpage, because if you go to that webpage and you look at the latitude and longitude, and you plug that in, it gives an address 2 blocks where I grew up in Calvert City. Actually, I used to ride my bike all over the place. And for that location to be called a Superfund location, I found it very hard that it would be, to believe that it would be located in a residential area. Now, this is information that's coming from an individual who is considered a consultant, and I don't think the court has identified the individual to be a consultant for us, but I think it's important that as far as the information that's shared with the court, that if there's information that's inaccurate, we correct it so that we're speaking in correct and accurate terms. The site that was identified by Brian Miles, does anybody know where that site's at? Well, Brian Miles believes that site to be Waste Path, and it's not.
I mean, I returned some information and this was just from my own observations, not any documentation, but other than the fact that they just, I guess, started about 2 years ago capping the old LWD incinerator site. And that was through EPA. That was an agreed order where they went through that process. Now, that's the only site that's tied to that entity, and that was in years past and under different ownership. But that site was capped. I believe they do have some monitoring wells there as well. So they put a clay covering over that. But that's the only thing I know that happened in that area.
Actually, Bob, you're actually correct. That is exactly the site that's in question. It is not Waste Path, and I think that for me, we need to make sure that we fix that so that we're speaking correctly on the locations. I actually reached out to the EPA office in Atlanta, the Restoration Investigation Office, for the Superfund Division of Region 4, Nestor Young, and there is a pollution report for that site. The address that is for this site is 2475 Industrial Parkway. That's 4.1 miles from the actual waste path location. My concern, and then I actually even contacted a Steve Sperling, who is the on-scene coordinator, and Steve Sperling confirmed basically what Nestor Young confirmed, was that this was not the same site. The Superfund location for that, there was a cleanup, and the EPA did what they have an acronym for it, but it's coded NF, NFRAP, which is no further remedial action plan. And so what concerns me is that we've got somebody who's using, in his own words, he Googled the site. And the site actually came up with the EPA's website. And if you just punch in the latitude, longitude, just do some basic investigation on it, it'll clearly show you that it's that latitude and longitude is not the latitude and longitude for the site. That gives an address of 69 Railroad Avenue, Southeast, Calvert City. That's between Ash and Aspen Street. So when I saw that, I immediately recognized that this is not the actual location. That was 3 blocks down from my home. So when you get the actual pollution report from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Region 4, it gives the correct latitude and longitude. But I think in the correspondence to us, Brian actually stated that his resources, which I don't know who his resources are, but he's saying that his resources are validated that this site is waste path, and that they have Superfund issues. And I think we need to correct that so that when we do go into negotiations, and I think we're supposed to be discussing today, that we do not sit down in front of a company and say that they have Superfund issues when it's actually 4 miles down the road at another site. So I question the credibility of Brian when he puts in his email, and I think you were corresponded on that, Jeff. He states specifically the landfill has Superfund issues. And that disturbs me because if we were to sit down with a party across from the table from us and we were to cite that, and that's the very first thing he cites, and it's not the location, this body is going to look stupid. And I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we verify what's being said, and we make sure that documentation is presented. And again, I still don't know where this information is coming from. All I've got is Brian Miles' communication to all of us, and I'll state specifically, he writes, "I completely trust my sources of information, but as you properly pointed out, I did not specify verifying this information before putting it into my email to the county attorney herself. Below is what I located on the EPA Superfund website regarding this issue. According to an EPA Superfund search website accessed by me on August 17, 2018, LWD is listed as a site of 6/30/2008. I don't know where the confusion is, and I don't know where the additional dialogue is, but I know that it's not, that information came in an executive session, and this was August 13th, 2018. I think after we had found that information out, that we corresponded with him, we called him directly and got him on the phone, Jeff and I did. To me, it's disturbing that we're citing a location that has nothing to do with the company or the organization that we're going to be sitting down at the table and talking to. So I want to make sure that it's on the record, that it's identified that that location, to my knowledge, does not have Superfund issues. And there's documentations here to support that. And I don't know, moving forward, with Brian, I question, and I question his credibility on this information. I would like to know the sources that directed him to this information. I mean, is that concerning to anybody?
Well, I'm at that point in the day, I advised the court, my clients, that I had concerns, and that as far as use of that information, I would advise them not to use it at that point.
I think what I was reading was his response, and I agreed with your, actually, I think I even advised you to send that out, because we didn't have anything to verify it. I know, Bob, you found it fairly quickly, and I think with your background and working down there, you had knowledge of that website, and I expressed that to him, that we had discussed that. But I bring this to light because, one, I don't want to see the fiscal court in a situation where we're citing inaccurate information. And again, I know the first question I have is, where did he get this information? Because what I've been told for the past several months is that this guy is got all the information. To me, this should be concerning to all of us. In his own words, he just did a Google search and didn't look any further than what was on the EPA's website. I think it took me 12 hours to get this information. I have, if you want, the actual pollution report of the site. It has nothing to do with waste path, but it is here. It was closed out. Mr. Young from the EPA office stated that the NFRAP acronym, or how they title it, is that was closed out. There's no further remedial action plan for that site. And I'm curious for any discussion on this. I would think that this would be somewhat alarming to everyone.
I know that in a lot of cases, the federal information's not the same as the state information, so I don't know if that's where the problems occurred, but that's in your next line item. I would think that all that would be discussed during this, if we're going to develop this committee and work through this host agreement. I would think that would be a good place for that to be thrashed out and determined for a path forward.
He gave us the actual website. He gave us the federal website that he went to get that information. And I've got a copy of it here. This is exactly, this is the website he went to look up, and he actually even cited it in the correspondence to us. So, there's no mistake what website he went to and the information that he's getting. And like I said earlier, when you pull up the lat long, to me, that's a no-brainer. You find out where that address is, and it plots in a residential area. And then when you look for the pollution report, the items that are at that location, you won't find in a residential area. So it was painfully obvious to me that we were talking about two separate locations. And I just question now I question his credibility on his information. So
I agree with Bob. I think that with the committee format, the next thing on the agenda that we're planning on, after talking to the county attorney, he's available, and we can get that information that you were discussing and hear it from the horse's mouth.
Well,
Certainly he needs to be here. He can answer that question better than any of us can. I can't answer any of those questions, but certainly he can. You will have the opportunity immediately following this meeting to express that to Mr. Miles.
Well, as far as what, under old business and what was discussed last time, that information is what was presented to the court. So it wasn't, I mean, when something's presented to the court and that information is inaccurate, I think we need to look into it instead of just relying 100% on an individual. I think we do have to do our due diligence to make sure that the information is accurate. So I just brought that to the court's attention, so when we move further, as the correspondence that was given out to date, it shows that it is inaccurate. Moving on, under old business, the host agreement waste committee. You wanted that on the agenda, Rick?
Yes, as we all met in joint session on March the 23rd with the representatives from the Refuse Board, and the Refuse Board has given their blessings on their committee, and as we discussed in that March 23rd meeting, I just moved that we formally empower the committee that was suggested back on March 23rd to represent this body, knowing full well that the committee will have to bring it back as well as the refuse to the entire body for passage so that we can negotiate in good faith and not conflict in negotiations. That form of motion.
What the members, what'll members?
The same thing that was discussed then, the judge and myself, representing the Fiscal Court. The Refuse Board has already empowered the chairman, the superintendent, and the waste management coordinator. And Jeff and I have discussed this in length, and their attorney, and originally we were thinking maybe that they needed, but Jeff felt like, and Denny did also, that since they legally represent these two individual bodies, that they be there simply as not members of the committee, but just as legal counsel for.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this group would not have any authority to approve anything.
Not right.
It would
right.
just be to come up with terms, suggested terms for an
Right.
agreement.
That's
Get
correct.
it to the table. This is a negotiation process.
Now, I do want to go back and make sure that we state accurately for the record. The March 23rd meeting was not a meeting for action. It was to sit
No,
down with the,
I'm
so
saying
there
that.
was no.
We're clearing that up
The
right
only,
now.
the only board in this organization or in this discussion was the Refuse Board. I think they took action to make a committee, so.
Right.
The
We're just
Fiscal
trying to do
Court
that right here.
hasn't taken any action on making a committee. So if you got on the agenda, you want a committee for Waste Path. In the negotiation for a host agreement.
Yes, that's my motion.
Who is the committee?
You and myself representing, so we won't have a quorum, and that's what the refuse and.
Well, up to date, it's been nothing but information only.
Right.
So we're fine with the quorum aspect. I personally would rather have Bob on that committee than yourself, because you've stated several times you don't speak the language. And I think if we're dealing with individuals like Brian, who's putting out information to the Fiscal Court that's inaccurate, I know Bob was quick to catch that on the webpage, not so much the inaccuracy, but the correct webpage to go to. But I would rather see Bob on the committee than yourself. And that would just be my opinion.
My motion stands.
Second your motion.
So there's a motion and a second to have me and Commissioner Cock as a committee with two, I guess, council to sit down with the Refuse Board. Is that the motion?
To
Negotiate the
be
host
the
agreement.
host, the committee that negotiates the host agreement and brings it back to the individual bodies. Yes.
Just a portion of the refuse board.
Well,
It's-
they've already
they-
done
they've
what we
formed the
just about to
committee.
do right here.
Yep.
They formed the
They've already
committee.
done that.
Yeah.
They did that several months ago. Those people have been attending the
We'll do,
sessions with Waste Management.
we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Gold, Commissioner Boland, Commissioner Cox.
Aye.
I'm going to vote no because I think, in my professional opinion, I think, Bob, you've got more experience in this matter, and I would rather see you on that board or in that committee because you actually do, to some degree, speak the language. So, you're welcome. Motion carries. Under new business, Doris Scarborough, go ahead.
One quick item under old business. I'm meeting with Marty Johnson and representatives from the sanitation district and the school board this afternoon. And I'm hopeful that we can hammer out an agreement on that issue. It's been outstanding. I think we're close, so.
Good.
Was that,
We're meeting at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
and just so, you had corresponded with me, and there was a miscommunication, I believe, on the school's part, or somebody that read the letter that was sent to them.
Since then, there's been some more information shared between the parties. I think that's cleared up any kind of.
Okay, so it's going along a lot better. Okay,
Yeah, it was the way it was presented, I think.
okay. Under new business, Doris Scarborough property, 316 West of 16th Street, Benton.
I have, Anita has done some research on this. I do not know what encumbrances are out there. I do know that there's several years of taxes haven't been paid, and it's my understanding that she wants to donate that to the county to get it out of her name, and so the county would own this piece of property, which is in the city.
Is that down behind Warner Street Baptist Church?
16 West 16th Street, so yeah, it's probably pretty close to it. Yeah, it is. I see that,
But like I say, if it's something that you're considering, obviously, we would want to see what, if there's mortgages or anything like that on it. But
Yeah.
there are several years of taxes on it.
Given acreage.
.17.
As big as this room.
Do we know anything about the adjoining properties?
No. I'm sure they don't want it because the taxes are due on it. There hasn't been a tax bill paid in over 10 years.
After researching EPA, it brings up a lot of questions why nobody would want this other than taxes. I mean, we don't know anything about this piece of property.
No, we just were made aware of that, and she pulled that information.
Yeah, I've actually been involved in a donated piece of property that had a underground gasoline storage tank on it, so we had to clear that up at one point. Yeah.
Why didn't she offer
And-
it to the city?
I don't know.
It doesn't really show any value for the.
5,000 is what the PVA has on it.
She just
I mean, it looks
approached
like
you?
No, not me. I don't know where it came
First she
from.
called, I think she called Desiree first, and then I talked to her on the phone that afternoon.
To the trailer park at Joe Creason.
It's what?
It's adjacent to the trailer park at Joe Creason. This doesn't border that cemetery back there, does it?
I mean, we're not obligated to take it either, so.
Next to Ed
We need to just have them.
Ed Jones, is it next to him?
A title opinion on it,
No, that's the other way.
make sure what kind of encumbrances there are, and go from there.
Yeah, that's obviously one requirement, but I would also suggest, I don't know if you want to send a couple people out there and just physically look at the property too.
You said it's in the city? Could the city not take it?
She offered it to us, but I mean, I'm sure
Would
she,
the offer, it may benefit the city more than the county.
either way, I mean, if the county takes it or if the city takes it, then it
other encumbrance, it would have to still exist.
I understand that. I agree. I think we need to look more into just taking an offer of land. Got a new profound respect for looking into.
And I don't know how it's zoned or anything else.
Yeah.
I assume it's residential.
Why don't we, when we make, I'll make a suggestion, why don't we even correspond with the city of Benton and see if they're interested in taking it? And finding out what type of piece of property this is. I don't think we need to make a decision today.
No.
No, I don't either. But she's offering it to us. I don't know if she didn't, there may be a reason she didn't offer it to the city. I don't know.
We need to find a buyer for it before we accept it anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Here, County Park.
Yes.
City Park.
We'll go ahead and move on.
City County Park.
Whack Pack lease, we finally got the deed signed over to the county for the park in Aurora. So that's the remaining lease that we have to go into. So just ask the court, we'll get this to the Whack Pack for their review. And if they're fine with it, give me permission to sign it, and then that way we'll have the agreement signed.
Move that we give you permission to sign it if if they agree. Be proud to get this straightened up. They're actually doing a lot of good work up there.
Second that motion.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 2018 Special District Tax Rate Certification.
I think that's the tax rate that the extension office has submitted for,
Right.
no, is that ours?
Sorry.
Okay. No, this one is fine.
Fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
It actually makes a small net gain in tax, tangible though actually takes a loss, but the increase in real property makes up for that difference, but this keeps the tax rates the same. We don't take the compensating rate on any of them. We just we're taking the expected rate from DLG, recommended
Right.
rate.
Okay. Motion to approve these tax rates.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
It's my intention to have the order for all the tax rates at the next court meeting.
Okay.
Marshall County Extension District Tax Rates.
Motion to approve the extension district tax rates.
In favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agreement and resolution for Kentucky Transportation. This is agreement between Kentucky Transportation and Marshall County before and bituminous resurfacing on Bryansburg Tatumsville Road. $237,047. Rural Secondary Fund. Do we need to read this agreement? This just needs my signature.
Motion to approve the agreement between transportation for the paving of the road.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's Training Incentive. You should have that in your packet. This will certify the treasurer to have training incentive, participate in the training incentive program.
Motion to approve the treasurer's participation in the training incentive.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We need to go in executive session for land acquisition and personnel.
Motion to go into executive session is stated, Judge.
And,
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll go ahead and call court back to order. We're waiting on Emily. She may have some info. As far as the one issue we discussed, Emily's already been corresponded with, so basically, Dennis Faust has requested to voluntarily take administrative leave for September 1 to November 15th, and he's asked the court to request that grant. So was there a motion to approve administrative leave for Dennis for September 1?
Approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll wait for Emily. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but Michael White, who is a part-time employee, or he's a volunteer. He helps out at the park, and he helps with the lighting. Dennis is wanting to offer him a part-time position at our minimum wage.
I think it's $8.34 an hour.
$8.34 an hour. We'll get the we'll get the form filled out, but he's asking for the court's permission to hire part-time employment for Michael White.
Right. Motion to approve that appointment.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll have further information next court meeting on the other matter. That's it. If anybody doesn't have any questions, motion to adjourn.
Identify the person and then basically make it be effective.
Okay, is that effective, when's the effective date on that?
It will be effective as soon as
As soon as you make it?
I make it, yes, sir.
There is a position, what was the code?
Supervisor two.
Supervisor two.
Supervisor two position that Dennis has requested to create part, which will cause a $1.75 increase for that position per hour. So he's asked the court to approve that. And he will fill us in on the next court meeting as far as who's going to get that position.
And those are budgeted numbers.
Correct.
Motion to approve Dennis to identify that person.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.